everyone. I've got one or two more quick tips to give you on the sewing of block 2. The first is pay attention to the photographs in the instructions. If it tells you to move the seam allowance out of the way and not to sew it down in the seam, be sure to do that. Now here, I'm in the middle of constructing this block, so I've got diamonds and wedges sewn together. And I'm about to sew the wedge, the top of the wedge, to the diamond. Now, one thing you might notice is that my arrow is pointed in the wrong direction. That's because when I designed the pattern, and I'm working off my first design, I didn't realize that this needed to press the other way. So ignore my arrow here. What you need to do is follow the arrows on your papers. Now, the next thing is, when I am bringing, let me move this back. When I'm bringing these two shapes together, what I want to do is turn them and pin them from this edge of the wedge toward the center. Now I'm going to reach up here and bring this in again. Use positioning pins here because if you haven't figured it out already, there are lots of points coming together in this block. So that one is good. I want to make sure that these edges are straight. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a pin there. Now, down here, where all of these seam allowances come together, in most cases, you've moved these seam allowances out of the way, but you're not going to be able to do that here because there's just too many of them. So go ahead and let this lay flat. And you'll almost feel everything smooth out underneath, but you'll still want to use positioning pins. Now, my underneath green is wanting to pull to one side, so I'm going to go ahead and encourage that to go that way. I want to place my positioning pin right at that intersection, and I'm going to check it and see how this is still pulling this way. I'll move that paper out of the way so you can see a little better. I'm going to move my pin there so that when I hold the pin vertically, it's holding everything in position. I'm squishing that together real good with my fingertips, and I'm going to use a pin to help hold that, and I'm going to put another pin here. When I sew this, I am going to begin sewing right at the base of that pin, right at the point. I'll put my needle in, I'll go forward, I'll go back a little bit, and then I'll sew forward on the solid line. You'll have a much better chance of getting a good intersection of the points if you do that. The other thing, before I forget, is once you get these sewn and you remove the paper, you're going to want to press. Now, even though, remember, I told you I had to change the direction of some of my arrows. So on my paper that you see right here, that arrow is wrong. The outer seam allowances are pressing to the left, and the inner seam allowances on the inside of the diamonds are pressing to the right. And what that allows you to do is to kind of swirl this intersection right here, the same way you'll do at the center of the block once you get the two halves sewn together. Now, you can explore this area and open up threads to help you swirl it a little better. Just do the best you can to make this lay as flat as you can, and then iron it real well. Press it, don't iron it. You'll find that there are dog ears at the center. Just be sure to cut those dog ears off. And when you're sewing one side to another, go ahead and sew off the end. You may have to loosen some of those stitches to make the seam allowance twirl in the center, but that's not a big deal at all. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope these few tips helped a lot. Thanks.